Imagine waking up to the news that China has attacked India. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But let's entertain this unthinkable scenario for a moment. A military conflict between these two nuclear-armed nations of this scale could dramatically alter the world as we know it. We're talking about casualties, destruction of infrastructure, and displacement of populations. A humanitarian crisis would likely follow, with a devastating economic impact on India and repercussions that could ripple across the globe. Diplomatic relations would be strained, not just between China and India, but with other countries too. The South Asian region could be thrown into instability, potentially sparking conflicts with neighboring countries. And let's not forget the potential refugee crisis, international condemnation, and the possible involvement of other nations. The long-term consequences? They're tough to predict, but it's clear they would be far-reaching. Before we dive in, don't forget to show some love by hitting that like button. Also, smash that subscribe button harder than China hypothetically smashing India. And drop a comment too, because who doesn't love a good chat? So, China has attacked India. What happens next? We're looking at an immediate military conflict, a head-to-head clash between two of the world's most populous nations. Picture this: troops mobilized, warplanes flying overhead, and the thunderous roars of artillery echoing through the valleys. The unfortunate reality? Casualties on both sides, destruction of infrastructure, and populations uprooted from their homes, creating a wave of internal displacement. But India wouldn't be alone in this conflict. Nations around the globe would likely step up to offer assistance, condemning the unprovoked aggression. The United States, Japan, Australia, and many European nations, they all have a stake in maintaining the balance of power in the region. They'd likely lend their support, either directly through military aid or indirectly through diplomatic channels. And that's not all. We're also talking about the ripple effect this conflict would have on the world. Disruptions in trade routes, supply chains thrown into chaos, and investor confidence in the region plummeting. But here's the kicker: this is just the beginning. The immediate aftermath of such a conflict would be devastating, no doubt, but the longer-term implications? They're even more concerning. We're talking about strained diplomatic relations, regional instability, economic downturns, and a potential refugee crisis. But that's just the immediate aftermath. The real horror story is yet to unfold. Now let's talk about the human cost of this hypothetical conflict. If China were to attack India, the aftermath wouldn't just be military and political. It would be deeply, profoundly human. Millions of lives would be disrupted, communities shattered, families torn apart. Imagine a vast humanitarian crisis unfolding. Innocent civilians caught in the crossfire, their homes reduced to rubble, their lives upended. Picture the displacement of populations on a massive scale as people flee the violence, seeking safety wherever they can find it. But safety is not enough. These displaced people, these refugees, they would need more than just a place to hide from the bullets and bombs. They would need food, clean water, medical care, shelter. The demand for humanitarian aid would skyrocket, putting immense pressure on international organizations and neighboring countries to respond. And if you thought that was bad, wait until we get to the economic fallout. The economic impact of such a conflict would be like a wrecking ball to India's economy. It's not just about the destruction of physical infrastructure. It's about the shattered confidence of investors, both domestic and foreign, who might hesitate to pump their money into a war-torn economy. Imagine the bustling markets of Mumbai, the tech hubs of Bengaluru, the industrial zones of Gujarat, all coming to a grinding halt. The economic downturn would not just be a number on a screen, it would mean loss of livelihoods, businesses going under, and a sharp increase in poverty. Now let's zoom out a bit. The economic fallout wouldn't just be confined to India. In an interconnected world, a conflict of this magnitude could send shockwaves through the global economy. India and China are major players in global trade, and any disruption in their economic activities could have a domino effect, destabilizing supply chains, affecting trade routes, and shaking the confidence of global investors. Countries with strong economic ties to India and China might find themselves in a tricky spot, having to navigate the choppy waters of a disrupted trade environment. And then there's the potential for a global economic slowdown or even a recession. But the ripples of this conflict wouldn't stop at the economy. The diplomatic world would be thrown into chaos. Imagine a scene where China's relations with India are strained to the breaking point. This would not only affect the two nations, but would also ripple out to other countries in the region and beyond. Diplomacy, the art of maintaining peace and fostering relationships, would take a severe hit. Nations around the world would be forced to choose sides, leading to a polarized international community. The South Asian region, already a hotbed of geopolitical tension, would be tipped into further instability. In conclusion, let's hope this scenario remains purely hypothetical, because the reality would be nothing short of catastrophic. This isn't just about China and India. It's about the potential for a single conflict to reshape our world. Imagine the unthinkable: an attack from China on India. The immediate effects would be catastrophic. An unparalleled humanitarian crisis would ensue. The economic shock, heavy and far-reaching, and the diplomatic repercussions, they would extend far beyond the two nations, impacting the global stage. Yet such a grim scenario is not fated. Peace and international diplomacy hold the key to averting such a calamity. It's in our hands to nurture a spirit of understanding and alliance. As we wrap up our discussion on the hypothetical scenario of a Chinese attack on India, it's crucial to acknowledge a significant aspect we haven't delved into: the potential nuclear threat. The prospect of two nuclear-armed nations engaging in conflict is terrifying and carries unimaginable consequences. From immediate devastation and loss of life to long-term environmental and health impacts, the specter of nuclear warfare looms large over any conflict between India and China. This underscores the urgency of diplomatic efforts, dialogue, and conflict resolution to prevent such a catastrophic scenario. Thank you for joining us on this exploration, and let's continue to advocate for peace and stability in our world. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed.